everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, while you guys might think this is boring, I personally love educating myself as well as others on social issues such as the LGBTQ plus community, as well as, goes hand in hand with Pride Month. So first of all, obviously June is Pride Month, so I thought that I would, educate myself about the history of Pride Month and the LGBTQ community and share it with you all because, like I just said, I love educating myself as well as others. So unlike my racism videos where I have firsthand experience with discrimination and things of that sort because of my race, obviously I'm not a part of that community, but I do have several in real life friends and online friends who are part of the LGBTQ plus community and have shared with me their experiences. I'm sure that my online friends who are a part of the LGBTQ plus community will let me know in the comments, and I highly encourage that they do, or just anybody a part, of the Star Stable community, a part of the LGBTQ plus community, to please comment down below if I say anything that is, way off. But I am going to be sharing facts and history about Pride Month from several sources that I have found as I explore the Rainbow Festival that came to Star Stable today. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, disclaimer before I begin the video. There are some terms I will not be saying because I haven't reclaimed the word. So if there's a part in the video where I'm quiet or don't talk, that's why. And I will just put on the screen what I'm referring to. And also, like I said before, I'm not a part of the LGBTQ plus community. So if I say something wrong, please let me know in the comments. I'm human. I make mistakes, and obviously I don't know everything, especially on a topic I'm not, I guess, first-handly a part of, if you understand what I'm saying. So I just ask that you're kind about if I do something wrong in the comments. Just be kind about it. And this video might be a little bit lengthy as I'm going to cover a lot of topics. But yeah, let's just go ahead and begin. First, I want to say happy Pride Month. But June is Pride Month, but what does that mean? Pride Month is dedicated to uplifting LGBTQ plus voices and cultures by supporting LGBTQ plus rights. The LGBTQ plus is an acronym for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and then I have this on the screen, so I'm just going to say Q. These terms are used to describe a person's sexual orientation or their gender identity. A person's sexual orientation and or gender identity is a part of who they are, but we should not define them or how others treat them. Everybody is equal. Unfortunately, people from the LGBTQ plus community are often bullied, made fun of, or excluded for being different. We should all be able to celebrate our own authentic selves loud and proud. This is what Pride represents and why there is a Pride Month, to bring awareness to Pride. The feeling of pride is the opposite of the feelings of shame or social pressure. This positive sentiment drives the movement for the LGBTQ plus rights. There may not be many large Pride celebrations this year because of the pandemic, but the idea of Pride is as relevant as ever, and you can always celebrate Pride anywhere as we are celebrating it on Star Stable. Like I said earlier, Pride Month is dedicated to uplifting LGBTQ plus voices and cultures by supporting LGBTQ plus rights. We also have Pride Month to commemorate the 1969 Stonewall riots. We also have it to show allyship to LGBTQIA plus communities, loving others and yourself proudly and passionately, remembering and believing the power of diversity, helping with accepting who you are and just being yourself, honoring the LGBTQIA plus activists, fighting for equality, understanding why we're all different yet all human, raising awareness and education about LGBTQIA plus topics as I'm doing, and we also just need Pride Month as a way of celebrating love and the uniqueness of our identities. Like I said, this video might be a little bit boring, but I feel like this section especially might be a bit boring because I'm talking about history. But I think it's important to talk about the history of things. So let's just go ahead and jump into the history of Pride Month. LGBTQ plus Pride is a promotion of the self-affirmation, equality, and increased visibility of the LGBTQ plus community. As we look into the history, in 1966, 3 members of the Mattachine Society staged a sip-in at bars across Manhattan, New York. Members of the society would attend bars and tell the owners that they were orderly homosexuals who wanted to be served, waiting to be turned away so they could sue. After being denied service, headlines in the New York Times read, "3 deviants invite exclusion from bars." By 1976, the Commission on Human Rights argued that gay folk had the right to be served in bars, empowering the gay community in New York. And then we also, in 1969, had the Stonewall riots, which were when New York City police raided the Stonewall Inn, a gay club in the city's Greenwich Village. This was during a time when police were legally able to arrest and even force hospitalization of gay people. The riots led to 6 days of protest and violent clashes with law enforcement in the city, paving the way for the movement to secure gay rights in the United States. 5 months after the riots, activists looked to start an LGBTQ+ movement that would be visible and able to demand change. Activists made a proposal at the Eastern Regional Conference of Homophile Organizations in Philadelphia that a march would be held in New York City to commemorate the 1-year anniversary of the raid. When thinking of the slogan for the event, L. Craig Schoonmaker suggested Pride, marking the beginning of the iconic slogan. The first Pride Parade in New York City, officially known as the Christopher Street Liberation Day March, occurred on June 28, 1970. The march was organized by representatives from groups like the Gay Liberation Front and Gay Activist Alliance. At the time, American Psychiatric Association's diagnostic manual still listed homosexuality as a mental disorder. Less than 2,000 people joined, but during this period, the number of marchers were legendary. Attendees chanted, "Gay is good," challenging the orthodoxy that gay was bad and deviant. Peter Tatchell, one of the marchers, said it was scary, but we were determined to be out and proud to demand our liberation. Years later, as President Obama was serving, from 2009 to 2016, he officially declared June as LGBT Pride Month. Before I get into the different flags and who and what they represent, I just want to quickly shout out Star Stable for actually including all of the different ribbons, that represent the different flags. I think this is amazing and I really love it, and I'm sure the LGBTQ plus community appreciates it. I didn't know this, but during Pride Month, each day in June represents a group of people, a part of obviously LGBTQ plus. So I'm just gonna share with you the calendar and basically do a rundown of each day. So starting with June 1st and going all the way until June 30th. So gay, lesbian, bisexual, polysexual, pansexual, omnisexual, heterosexual, demisexual, there is a gray asexual flag, and then asexual, polyamory, intersex, trans, male to female, trans, female to male, agender, gender fluid, bigender, trigender, pangender, gender Q, demigirl, demiboy, androgyne, intergender, non-binary, questioning, homoromantic, biromantic, panromantic, and lastly, aromantic. Now I'm going to do an overview of each flag and try to describe who that flag represents and what that means. And obviously I am reading from sources as well, and please let me know down below if I say something wrong like I've been saying all throughout this video. Okay, so firstly we have the gay and lesbian flags, and basically what that means is being homosexual, but being gay is more used for men, and then lesbian is a term more used for women. Next is the bisexual flag, which simply means that you are attracted to both sexes. Then next we have polysexual and pansexual. The difference between the two: so polysexual is being attracted to multiple but not all genders, which is what pansexual is. Being pansexual means you're interested in all genders, and that is not what polysexual is, which is what I just described. Next is omnisexual and heterosexual. Being omnisexual means that you are attracted to those of all gender identities and sexual orientations. And then being heterosexual means that you are a non-binary person who is primarily sexually attracted to other non-binary people. Next we have demisexual, which means being sexually attracted to someone only when you have an emotional bond with them. Then next we have the gray asexual flag and the asexual flag, and basically the difference between the two is the black asexual flag represents asexuality, while the gray asexual flag represents gray sexuals, which basically means being between sexual and asexual. And basically being asexual means that you are not involved in sexual activities, feelings, or associations, so you're basically just non-sexual. Then next we have the polyamory flag and the intersex flag. Being polyamory means you are engaged in multiple romantic relationships with the consent of all the people involved. And then being intersex is a little bit more complex, but it basically is an overarching term that refers to human bodies that fall outside of the strict male and female binary. Generally speaking, the term refers to the many different conditions often present at birth that can affect a person's reproductive or sexual anatomy. As a result, they may not clearly be either male or female. Then we have the trans male to female and trans female to male flags, which basically transgender is a term used to describe people whose gender identity is different from the sex they were assigned to at birth. Okay, now I'm going to try to do agender, bigender, trigender, and pangender all in one swoop. Non-binary people may identify as having two or more genders, which is how bigender and trigender come about, or they could identify as having no gender, which is how agender comes into play. Then you have pangender, which basically is someone who doesn't identify with having a gender to themselves. It is someone who is attracted to neither sex in any preference, or more commonly someone who doesn't identify with a sexual attraction to a sex. Now we're going to do the gender fluid flag and the gender Q flag. So being gender fluid is the idea of someone's gender being dynamic, fluid, and shifting. Some days a gender fluid person may feel more male identifying, and some days more female. And some days they may feel like they are both, neither, a mixture, a third gender, or somehow beyond the gender binary. And then gender Q is used to represent those identifying outside of the gender binary, which is, this flag is also used as a non-binary flag. And since the gender Q flag can be used as a non-binary flag, we're just going to get into the actual non-binary flag. So someone who is non-binary is simply someone who does not identify as a man or a woman. They could identify as both a man and a woman in between the two genders, or not a part of any gender category at all. And now here is the demi-girl and demi-boy flags. The prefix demi refers to something that is at a midpoint or half. So in this case, it's splitting a gender and the two binary gender identities. A demi-boy or demi-girl is someone who doesn't strongly identify with being male or female. Next, we have the androgyne flag, which androgyne is a term used to refer to a person who does not fit neatly into one of the typical masculine or feminine gender roles of their society, or to a person whose gender is a mixture of male and female, but it is not necessarily half and half. Next, we have the intergender flag, which intergender people have a gender identity that is in the middle between the binary genders of female and male, and it also may be a mix of both. Then we have the questioning flag, which obviously is kind of self-explanatory. It is a flag dedicated to people who are questioning their sexuality. And then last but not least, we have the homoromantic, biromantic, panromantic, and aromantic flags. And being homoromantic means you have a romantic attraction towards a person or persons of the same gender. Being biromantic means you have a romantic attraction towards two or more genders or a person or persons of the same and other genders. It is also kind of used as panromantic, but being panromantic is having a romantic attraction to people regardless of their gender. Panromantic people can be romantically attracted to people of every gender identity, and people of any gender identity may also identify as panromantic. And then being aromantic is a person who has little or no romantic attraction to others. They may or may not feel sexual attraction. An aromantic person can fall into one of the two groups, which is aromantic sexual people or aromantic asexual people. Okay, next I'm going to talk about pronouns and neopronouns. So pronouns are simply a set of words that are used in place of someone's name and therefore do not have an inherently implied gender, just as someone's name does not inherently equal their gender. And then we have neopronouns, which are a set of usually gender-neutral pronouns commonly used by trans or gender-neutral individuals. Of course, you have the generic and most used pronouns, which is he, him, she, her, and they, them. But with neopronouns, I will put some common ones on the screen. And people who use neopronouns have a complex relationship with gender. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you guys something that one of my fellow club members shared with me by the name of Kirsten Starcake, aka Kit. Her pronouns are she, they. She's actually demi-fluid, which means she is someone whose gender identity is partially fluid, while another part of her identity is static. Demi-fluid is part of the demigender umbrella and may also be considered a transgender and or non-binary identity. I know that that was a lot of information to take in. It was a lot of information for me to research and kind of put in the work for, but I'm so glad that I did because I really learned a lot. I hope that this video was very informative because that was the whole point of this video. I know that you guys probably didn't take everything in, so I hope you just watched what section you needed most and tried to grasp what I was saying. And obviously you can always do your own research as well. But yeah, let's just go ahead and head over to the outro. Alright you guys, that wraps up today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I know this video was a bit lengthy, so I will put the timestamps for each section down below in case, you need it for whatever you came to my video for. The sources are also down below for the facts and everything I used. And also I want to shout out a few of my club members who helped me understand some topics I obviously didn't know about, because obviously this is not familiar territory for me. So I will put their names on the screen. Just thank you guys so much for helping me. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next video. Love is love, and I love everyone, and you are valid no matter what your gender is or what you identify as, and so on and so forth. So yeah, bye guys.